All right, so listen, let's do this coverage-wise. So just simple math now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just do some simple math. All right, so there's the football field. It's 53 1/3 yards wide, right? And we know it's 100 yards long. If we could take 9 coverage guys and put them back there in coverage, we could take away the deep quarters of the field. That would only be, Baldy, you did the math, right?
Yeah, 13 yards.
Yeah, about 13 yards of field. You could stand in the middle of 13 yards.
Yeah.
And if the ball's got to travel 30 yards downfield, Jaws, we can cover that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That would take care of all the deep throws. If you could take 5 guys and put them in these underneath 1/5 area that we call 2 flats or 2 curls and 2 hooks, we'd be okay. Problem is, we'd only have 2 guys to rush.
I like that as a quarterback.
Yeah, you'd have no problem with that.
I like that part.
Okay, so what happens? Let's say we want to rush 3 people. We got to take 1 guy out of here. All right, now this deep area has to get split into thirds. All right, it becomes a little more challenging for you back here, Baldy, right? No line, we can do the math. We don't need to now, but instead of covering 13 yards of field, it's 1/3 of the 53 1/3.
Yeah.
But we only have 3 guys rushing.
Right.
All right, most teams, right? Most zone coverages have 4 men to rush. So now we've got to cover somehow with 7 guys. And conceptually, there's really 2 of them. You can play 3 deep, 4 under zone.
Yep.
Or we play 2 deep, 5 under. All right, what are the reasons for the 2 different ones? I mean, you could stick in one and try to master it, but it's not too long before you figure out that underneath, if you've got to cover 5 zones and you only have 4 bodies to do it, it gets a little bit tougher.
Jake, play it, play it, play it, play it.
So what typically happens in a game is defensive coaches change up if they're going to stay in zone between 2 deep and 3 deep. You got teams it's 2nd and 5, and it's going to be a short throw. Maybe you live in this world a little bit because you got 5 underneath people, right? If we want to take care of them throwing things deep, we don't want a deep ball in the middle post. We get into 3 deep and stick somebody here. Every coverage has a weakness. Every coverage has a strength. Where are the weaknesses in that, okay? The weaknesses, to me, are out here in the flat, okay? Because you're going to have a curl. We'll talk in terms of somebody playing the curl flat or playing the hook curl. And all that means is that if I'm a defender and I have the hook curl, I've got to work through the hook and then out to the curl based on the routes. If I'm a curl flat defender, I work through the curl and then to the flat. Well, if I'm telling these 2 guys to work through the curl and then get to the flat, that must mean that that flat's open early, right? So to me, the weakness in cover 3 is out here in the flat.
Speed outs. You want to be a good cover 3 team, you need good corners.
I think so.
It goes without saying.
Look, if you play off all the time, and these people are getting 5 out all of the time, it's going to be really hard for those 4 guys to cover those 5 zones. They just kind of trickle on down the field. So your corners at some point have got to be up there and make plays for you. Yeah.
Fires the middle, and it is intercepted! What a pick by Josh Norman!
We talked earlier about 3 deep, and one of the ways to attack 3 deep is to go 4 vertical, 2 by 2, and you're stretching these 3 deep defenders in 4 areas. To take that away, you shift coverages a little bit, and now we've got 4 guys deep. These 2 guys are protecting the hashes, and these 2 guys are protecting the numbers. But we weaken somewhere.
Right.
So no longer do we have 4 underneath defenders, we only have 3. So the stress goes on what I call the 2 quarters flat defenders and the Mike linebacker. Let's talk about different types of quarter coverage, okay? There's real aggressive flat foot quarter coverage, and there's a softer cover 4 where you're taking away the deep routes.
All right. Make sure you stay close enough inside that he can't hit that seam, right?
The other thing that's interesting about quarters, conceptually, you have to make a decision in quarters coverage. You want to play your corners outside or inside.
Yeah.
You play them outside, it'll help you on those deep out routes.
Right.
But some teams will play it inside and say that we're better at corner than you are at wide out, and it helps all of the inside. If they want to throw an out route all day, our corners are good enough to drive on it. All right, so we're talking about 2 deep, 5 under, right? Simple math, there's your 2 deep defenders, right? Theoretically, your 2 corners are in the flat, your Mike linebacker's in the middle hook, and there's your 2 curl defenders. In theory, it should take away a little bit more of the short passing game. Now, you weaken yourself in the deep routes, but it should be a little bit better underneath.
But if it's strong side, right, keep that too high look.
Listen, there's a lot of versions of cover 2. With little intricacies and changes. There are firmer cover 2s. The corners stay in the flat no matter what. There's what I call floated cover 2s, where the corners could get pulled out of the flat based on particular routes that they get.
Do you like to redirect?
Yeah, all of them would believe in redirecting.
Okay.
Don't cover yourself. You get a piece of just keep down there, a little bit too much time.
Corners theoretically want to force their #1 receiver inside because you got only 2 deep defenders now, each covering a half of the field. So you want to shrink that part of it. And listen, the coverage never works very good if you don't do that.